Alexa side off. Golly, that's good. I haven't found my first Blanton's. Wow. That's different. I really like that. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. Yeah, no, I'm gorgeous. Although probably fuzzier was better. Okay. So this is not what I expected. It is Thursday night, and we are live once again. It's a Bourbcast, and this is Dawn, my friend Dawn.
Hey.
Sounding all right? She sounding all right? My technical advisor over here. Yeah?
Cool.
Good deal. You don't have to be like super loud to say something.
Like what?
That.
Like that? Okay, like that.
Good? All
okay.
right, sweet. Awesome. Okay, well, this is a last minute thing. We were going to do Widow Jane anyway, and Dawn and I have been talking a little bit here and there, and she said she'd never been to an actual bourbon tasting. I said, well, then come over. She's like, well, what does that even look like? I said, well, first you smell it.
Yeah, that's how that started this morning, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
So Dawn is here, and we're gonna taste whiskey together. And since she's never actually had a proper tasting, this is gonna be fun for me because as a bourbon steward, I've never administered a proper tasting with somebody who's never been to one. Yay!
It'll be interesting.
It'll be
Very.
fun.
Yes.
All right, so fresh off the cleaning cycle. Are you aware what these are?
No.
These are Glencairn glasses.
Okay.
And the reason that we drink out of something like that and not out of something like your water glass is because when you have it snooted, I call it snoot. A lot of people call it a snoot, but when it's snooted like that or fluted, it helps concentrate the aromas into your nose.
Okay, that makes sense.
These are kind of typical to drinking scotch, and they've now moved over and morphed over into the whiskey world as well.
Okay.
So, ladies first. I'll give you a nice sturdy belt.
Okay.
Now, what do you normally drink?
Jameson and ginger ale is that's Irish whiskey. I'm Irish.
Okay, so Irish whiskey, Jameson, is going to be 80 proof.
Okay.
This one is 91 proof.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little hot for you, and you're not mixing it with ginger ale. Let's talk about Widow Jane just a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Widow Jane.
Okay.
This is the 10-year. They have a 10-year... No. They have a 10-year that is a single barrel. This is not the single barrel. This is a blend. So this is pretty much their bottom basement bourbon, I think. And the price point on this is like near $80. This is an expensive drink. So if I don't like it, I'm going to have to drink it. I can't just give it away because it's going to cost too much. I've heard some people really like it. I've heard some people have some issues with it. We'll get into that as well. They also have a little bit of a controversy, marketing problems. We'll get into that as well. All right, so this is a bourbon from the Red Hook area of Brooklyn, New York, sort of. It's produced in Kentucky, sourced from mashes made in Kentucky, Tennessee, and a little rye from MGP, Indiana. Barreled in 8-year-old oak casks and bottled and proofed in New York City. The Brooklyn distillery used to be a chocolate factory. The same people who opened this distillery had it as a fine chocolate factory. And they decided to get into whiskey, and it morphed over, and they eventually closed the chocolate altogether and then started the distillery. They have another upstate distillery located in Rosendale, about 100 miles north of Brooklyn, which is also where the Widow Jane mine is located. I saw some pictures of the mine. I
Did you?
must visit the mine.
Oh, cool.
It looks very cool. The mine was originally excavated to make up the foundation for the Brooklyn Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, and the Empire State Building. Even some of the Washington Monument was made from cement that came from that mine. Widow Jane claims that the water from the mine is naturally silky and creamy. To me, honestly, that seems like an additive to the bourbon rather than a pure downproofing, as most limestone water is used not to proof, but rather in the mash recipe. What these guys do is they use probably the limestone water for their mash recipe, but then they also proof it from barrel proof down to 91 with this limestone water, and that's an unusual thing. They don't normally do that because limestone water does have some flavor to it and it does have some texture to it. But some of the people I've been talking to said that adds to the mouthfeel of this, so we'll see about that. Now, the controversy as far as the marketing goes.
Okay.
One of the big things on their website is they claim that the water that they use to proof the bourbon comes from the Widow Jane mine. And there was an expose in 2018 by an NBC News that claimed that the water that they used does not actually come from the mine itself, but rather from a water source nearby. Somebody was watching that broadcast and sued Widow Jane for deceptive marketing practices. Now, for me, it's hard to estimate any personal liability or damage by bad marketing.
Right.
But there are litigious people out there who see a way to make a buck and they go, let's go sue them. Well, they lost their case.
Good.
Yes. So
No precedent set.
litigious huckster. But so anyhow, Widow Jane has not backed down. They still say that it is from the mine, whereas NBC News says it's not from the mine, it's from a water source nearby. We're splitting hairs. It was a controversy in 2018. Nobody seems to care anymore. They still carry on with it. Even the front of the bottle says, pure limestone mineral water from the legendary Rosendale mines of New York. Blend of straight bourbon. Okay. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. I don't care. If it is, then okay. Ready to give it a shot?
Sure.
Now, the first thing that we do,
Okay.
let me take these off. I know somebody says, every time you touch your glasses, I'm going to drink. Sorry. All right. So the first thing that we do is we nose it. Now, are you a wine drinker? A little bit?
A little bit.
Okay. So you've never really tasted wine yet either?
Not really, no.
Okay. Now, I know you're not a stranger to drink.
Right.
I see the pictures when you go on vacation a million times a year. She's always on vacation. She always goes to these great places. And I'm sitting at home going, is COVID over?
For me it is.
Yeah.
It never was.
That's good. All right. So what I like to do is give a little swish like this, get it going in the glass, let some of those aromas start to mix around. And then you're supposed to have your mouth a little bit open. I have trouble doing that. My mouth is always open, but
Same.
so all right. So you just take it and sniff it. You actually do it better than I do. Now,
I'm a natural then.
there, you're a natural.
Okay.
There.
All right.
So now, when you do that, you want to start thinking about the things that it reminds you of. Okay. So in the case of bourbons, oftentimes some of the things that you'll find on the nose might be black pepper. You might have honey, caramel, vanilla. There might be toasted cereal notes. Something may seem a little grassy. There's a lot of different things. You might get orange zest. You might get lemon. You might get licorice. You might get tobacco. You might get leather. There's a whole lot of different things that span the gamut of the types of senses that you may conjure up, knowing that the only thing that's in this is alcohol and time. It sits in the toasted barrel for, in this case, 10 years.
Okay.
And it gets all its flavor from the mash bill, the recipe,
Right.
and its time in the barrel. And that's it. There's no other additives to it except for the water when they proof it down. And essentially, water's not supposed to have any flavor. Now, this is not chill filtered either, which means chill filtering is when they basically try to freeze the bourbon so that any particles, any sediment that's in it, when you run it through the filters, those frozen molecules, those frozen things are going to stick together and they won't come through the filter. Sometimes it gives a little bit better mouthfeel if you don't do that.
Okay.
If you don't filter it, so the sediment is still there. And if indeed they use limestone afterwards, we may have a nice silky mouthfeel. We'll find out. If it's a little bit buttery, sometimes that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so let's.
So that's what I'm looking for. Okay, maybe.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. Let's go back
Okay.
to the sniffing.
All right.
And see if there's anything. And if you don't get a good scent off of it, I didn't get good nose, so I may have to stick my nose down in the glass to get good nose.
Okay.
My nose is longer than yours, so it's not hard for me. But just see if it reminds you of anything.
The first thing I thought of was apples, actually.
Okay. And I'm getting a little leather myself, like off a new car seat.
Yeah.
There's some rye notes in there. That's probably that MGP Indiana rye. I'm getting some toasted cereal. A little cinnamon.
Yeah, I can see that or smell that. Not see it.
She understands. Get off. Leave her alone. There's a little citrus in there,
Yeah.
just ever so slightly. All right, you ready to give it a sip?
Sure.
Now, okay, you are used to Jameson 80 proof mixed down with ice and ginger ale.
Unless I'm having a pickleback.
Really? You've had a pickleback? Well,
Oh, yes.
Jameson's big with the pickleback.
Yes, if I've had a pickleback, I'll do a shot of Jameson just straight. So
Okay, all right.
I know that too.
But then you're pickling it back real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you're talking about shots. So with this, when you're tasting bourbon, the first thing that you're going to need to do, particularly as a newer bourbon drinker, and this is a little higher proof, is you're going to need to let that sit on your tongue and prime your tongue for actual tasting. So the first thing you're going to get when you put this in your mouth is you're going to get the burning of the ethanol right in the center of your tongue.
Okay.
Try to withstand the urge to swallow it and just hold on to it for a minute if you can, for as long as you can. We're going to try to go 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, here we go. Just a little sip. Now, to me, that was a little timid.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
You didn't think it was that bad?
I didn't think it was bad at all.
So there is a very slight bloom. Well, no, it isn't. It's not even a bloom. It's just a little bit of a burn right in the center of my tongue, and it didn't go anywhere. It didn't do anything. Generally, what I say is the bloom. It's a coffee term. When
Okay.
you grind grounds and you put water in a pour over or a slow drip, you will watch those, they plump when you cook them, right?
Yeah.
The grounds will bloom, which extracts the flavor from them as if it's like tea,
Okay.
okay? I call this the bloom because a lot of times when you're sipping whiskey, the scents on your tongue doesn't stay in one place. It'll bloom out to the sides or go from front to back or back to front or go up into the roof of your mouth. It can do all sorts of different things depending on the different thing that's in the bottle. This one just stayed in the center of my tongue as like a straight thin line and didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. But now we've gotten that out of the way. The ethanol thing is out of the way. Now let's do an actual tasting.
Okay.
So same thing, just a nice little sip.
Okay.
I'm gonna burp. That happens a lot. Excuse me. All right. Excuse me again. Oh, people are probably talking to us. Nobody's talking. Okay, that's good. That could be because I'm not signed in as my real name. So I told you the whole thing just switched around and it's just a pain in the butt. Interactivity. Yeah, I don't know where anything is anymore. They changed everything. It doesn't matter. Just assume that we know you're there. All right, so I'm going to need one more because I'm not extracting. I am getting a really nice mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. It's a silky, buttery, very nice mouthfeel. It does not drink like 91 proof. This is drinking more like a 84 to 86 proof. It's not what I expected. I expected it to be a little hotter, considering it's kind of a of craft whiskey, but at the same time, it's a 10-year. And, you know, it's not a 3-year or a 4-year, because those tend to be a little more harsh. Those tends to bite more, and they tend to be not as mellow. The mouthfeel on this is very nice, and it is a very mellow drink. I'm not getting that punch in the face.
So you're talking more smooth.
It's very smooth. For 91 proof, it should be more harsh, but with a 10-year, it's going to be mellowed out.
Okay.
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 So now let's see if we can get some flavor out of this thing. Told you they'd start to play.
It doesn't burn much at all.
No. So there's something called the whiskey chew,
Okay.
where you swish it around your mouth and it almost feels like you're chewing it.
Okay.
That gets it all around. It gets it everywhere. Gets it underneath your tongue, gets it down here, gets it up here, gets it everywhere. So you can really get into it and sense what that whiskey tastes like. For me, gosh, I'm getting more of the rye side of things. I'm getting an earthiness to it. Some of those early flavors that are scents that I got on the nose, I didn't get on the palate. There is a little citrus in there, I think.
I just got some of that.
Did you some citrus? Okay. See all that?
Yeah.
That's the alcohol. There's no sugar in this. If that were wine, then you would look at that and think either that's alcohol or that's sugar. And the vintner would be able to tell you which it is. If it's a low alcohol content, it won't grab the side of the glass like that unless it's sugar.
Gotcha.
Whereas a higher alcohol content may mean less sugar and more alcohol, and that'll hang to the side of the glass as well. We call that legs.
Okay.
All right. So for me, I got a little of that citrus. There's a little toffee in there, very slight toffee, a lot of rye notes, a lot of that earthiness, twigs, some leathery. The rye side of this is really coming out, but it's mellow and it's nice. So what are your impressions?
I'm not sure. I mean, I liked it. It was, you know, I expected it to be
Ladies first.
stronger.
Yes.
I did, just based on our conversation.
Right.
So I expected it to be totally stronger.
And I got stuff that's stronger if you want it.
No, well, no, I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that either. But no, I just based on our conversation we had before we went online,
Right.
you know, it was, okay, what am I getting myself into kind of thing. So
But now, I mean,
it was smooth. I mean, and it was good. It was good.
and when we get done with the Bourbcast, if you want to try some different things, I'll bring out some different bottles and we'll try some different things. So you can see the difference between this and other ones.
Okay.
And I'll bring out lower proof ones so that way, you know, you're not, you know, I don't want you to be slurring and all that kind of stuff. And we can go out on the deck and sit out there and
Okay.
sit there and drink. But the next step that we do when we do the Bourbcasts is water. And we do about an ounce, or actually a milliliter. And what this does is it downproofs it even more, and then it has a tendency to open up the flavors. Doesn't work all the time.
Okay.
On Irish whiskey particularly, I don't care for it. There was one, Powers, that seemed to do pretty good, and there was another one called I see it, it's an octagonal or a hexagonal, the Sexton. That one, those two opened up a little bit. Jameson does a little bit, but it's only 80 proof. And you go adding water to 80 proof, you water it down.
Right.
And then you have a tendency to lose some of the flavors out of it. So, give it a good swirl. Look at my vortex. My vortex is bigger than your vortex.
You're swirling faster.
Yes. Like my table, I used Pledge.
I do. Yeah.
This is the first time I ever used Pledge.
You should try Norwex.
Norwex?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They're like towels and things, and you just use water. And it
Oh.
does better than Pledge, and there's no chemicals.
So I used pledge for the first time and I was wrong? I thought it would be shinier. I thought
Usually pledge is shinier.
This isn't shiny.
So you just did that
For
today?
nothing. Yes.
Okay.
Told you I was going to clean the house.
Yes, you did. You did say that.
I want to be a good house host. Okay. So same thing.
Okay.
You don't have to hold it for 10 seconds or anything. Just
Okay.
because you've already done that. Your palate is already primed.
Right.
So then bring it in.
It changed it.
Mm-hmm. The mouthfeel got even more buttery, even more silky. Really nice. I do like that.
It did. It changed it.
It did. It opened it up.
Yeah.
So now, is there anything that you're sensing out of the flavors yourself that's different?
That's different?
Or added to, or, hey, I didn't notice that last time?
I got more of the citrus. That's probably what I'm noticing more.
It's a good assessment. I'm getting a hint of milk chocolate.
It was made in a chocolate factory.
Yeah, right? Want to thank you guys for leaving some of the chocolate on the shelves.
I'm going to have to see again.
Just very little, almost up here is where I'm getting it. So do your whiskey chew.
Maybe a hint?
Yeah, it's very small. Very, very
Yeah,
small.
Maybe a hint?
So I was getting toffee on the nose and just slight milk chocolate up here or in the roof of my mouth. It's pleasant. It's just a little bit sweet. It's. I'm not going to tell you there's enough of it there to balance out the earthiness of the rye. What I'm assuming is the rye. I don't know the mash bill on it. I just know that there's a blend of different things in it. The Tennessee whiskey that's blended into this, I don't know if that's gone through the Lincoln County process or not. We talked about filtering. Mm-hmm. The Lincoln County process does another step further in that it has big vats, huge things of this black charcoal that they make out of sugar maple.
Okay.
And they will have these like drip mechanisms, and they drip the whiskey down through this carbon, through this charcoal. And it lends itself to a very unique profile, very unique to Tennessee whiskey. You can't call yourself a Tennessee whiskey unless you do it that way. And
Okay.
that's called the Lincoln County process.
Okay.
There are, I think, 2 distillers in Tennessee that don't do it. They call themselves Tennessee whiskey, but they don't do that. It's because they were grandfathered in.
Okay.
So, all right, one more of these. I'm sorry, people are leaving comments. I can't see them. You know what? I wonder if I can log out. I don't know. Never mind. All right, and then last but not least, did you get something new?
Yeah. I'm not sure how to describe it, though. It was good. It was, I just, more and more of that feel, I guess.
The mouthfeel?
Yeah.
The silkiness?
Yeah.
Butteriness?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times with a rye, I'll get even a hint of the flavor of butter. And it can be different butters. It can be grass-fed butter. It can be sweet butter, salty butter. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could describe what you're drinking.
Yeah.
And it's not even in the glass. It's just what it reminds you of.
Right.
There are certain flavors that just find their way in through the natural process of sitting in that charred vat cask for however long it's in there that just imbues it with flavor. The last thing that we do is we try it over ice. And these are my glorious, elegant ice spheres.
Okay. Perfect.
I have to say it that way. They expect it.
It's stuck. Well, those are cool.
Kind of comes out like a bowling ball.
Yeah, that would hurt.
Don't put your finger in there. Don't put your finger in there. All right. Do you have a high constitution? Can you handle a lot of booze?
We'll find out.
All right. Normally, just enough to get that ice sphere a little wet.
One of my kids are letting my dogs out tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They should be watching.
I told him, but we'll see.
Well, I won't know. I know that there's quite a few people watching, but I don't know who. And if anybody's making comments, I can't see it because I didn't log out and log back in as myself. Facebook, you know as well as I do, they can't stop messing with stuff. They just can't leave it alone.
They keep
gotta
changing the
keep
algorithms.
tweaking.
That's awful.
They tweak stuff. They tweak.
Yeah.
And that tweaks me. All right. You wouldn't know it as much if you don't run pages and groups. I run pages and groups.
Constant changes.
And the mobile experience is going to be different than the computer experience, the laptop, and just a mess. Just awful. Burping again.
One of the TED Talks I watched today addressed that.
What was it? Change and...
Well, it's problem solving and decision making.
So now I know who to go to if I have problems that need solved and decisions that need
And what
made.
did I tell you? Okay.
Okay. I thought that was you going, okay, all right, I get it. All right.
Okay, I don't know. No, probably not. But no, it was the second one was more interesting than the first one. But yeah, so
There have been a few TED Talks that I've seen that are interesting. Mm-hmm. A few.
yeah,
I tried to go back to college again. Don't do that.
I am.
Are you? So I went back to the school that was online, and I went through the first few classes, and then I decided I took a psychology class, and I'm like, hey, that was really great. I really enjoyed the psychology class. I've always enjoyed psychology. I think I've tried in college 3 different times to do psychology, and I just cannot seem to get through it. The first time I left because I had been there for 2 years and changed my major 3 times. The second time I was there for 6 weeks, and then my boss at the radio station had a heart attack, and I ended up taking over the morning show.
Yep.
And that launched my career.
There you go.
So the third time I tried to go back to college was just a couple of years ago. And like the third class I took, I did the psychology, and that was so much fun. I thought, what's close to psychology? Something I might enjoy. Sociology.
I took that last summer. That was something else.
The very first chapter was on the genius of Karl Marx. I'm like, I'm out.
Oh, I finished it. Yeah, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
And then I tried, it was an economics course, and they
done
kept
that
talking
yet.
about the curve, the demand curve. Only the demand curve is a straight freaking line. It's not a curve. It doesn't curve. I'm an art guy. It's got a curve.
Yeah, if it says it curves, it should curve.
Now, the college you're going to, does it have, like, live teachers doing lectures?
Yes, every Tuesday night, 8:30, Franklin University. If I'm not online, I have to write a paper. So I'm online.
Okay. Mine did not have any lectures. It was all reading and writing papers, and it was peer graded.
Peer graded?
Yeah.
Oh, so they didn't have to do anything.
No,
So what did that teach you?
not to go there anymore.
Oh, okay, there you
I
go.
was being graded, and I'm not saying anything wrong about other people in other cultures, but the way that other people have education in different cultures is just different. And I was actually in classes in this American university with people from Nairobi and Kenya and Philippines, and the way that they do education is just different than the way they do it here. And there were people that I was in class with that already had freaking PhDs from their home countries. So here I am trying to learn AP citations and all this stuff.
Oh, the APA. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's awful. And they've got it all figured out, and I'm like,
Well, you know what? And they just changed it in the last year from the 6th edition to the 7th, and it's totally different.
right, I was in it just as that changed.
Okay, all right.
So that confused me even more. Thank you.
Well, I've got some professors that really don't care
Right.
which one you do, just so you're there in that kind of format. And then I have other ones that you better have it right.
Right.
And then some of the business classes I have to take for what I'm doing, they want MLA format, which is completely different.
Now, this whole university, it was all AP.
Oh no, this one bounces back and forth, depends on what you're taking.
That's awful.
It is.
So on ice,
Sorry.
I know, we lost everybody. Everybody's gone. No, I'm joking. So we swirl around, get it nice and cold. This is not going to melt near as fast as anything else.
Okay.
Okay, so this got a lot less surface area. And he's drinking too. He's thirsty too.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
All right. Even more for me of the citrus came out. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going
smoother.
You think? It's just downproofed.
Yeah.
Because the ice
Yeah,
did
but
melt
I
a little
mean,
bit.
yeah.
There's two things that happen when you add ice. It does mute the flavors some, and it will eventually start to dilute the drink. So what you might be experiencing as far as smoother is actually the ice effect of
The
it.
dilute. Yeah.
Well, the diluting, but also the muting of the flavors.
Okay.
So you may have a hot proof and put it on ice, and even though it hasn't diluted yet, it's going to mute that a little bit, so it may seem less hot. The citrus came out on that for me. It's nice. I lost some of the other flavors. Not that there were a lot to begin with. I agree with you, though. It got more silky yet. It did bring out some new flavors, though. It brought out some vanilla, maybe a little caramel. Some of the more typical bourbon notes that came out on this, to me.
I'm new, so.
No pressure. No pressure. Just what it reminds you of. Maybe you might get some honey, you might get some toffee, maybe the chocolate's still there.
Really sweet.
Really?
I mean,
it did sweeten it up a lot.
yes, it did. Very much so. To pinpoint what, though? Well, I'm still trying.
There's times that I can catch maple syrup on there. I don't get it on this. All right. All right, so I will tell you that it's not what I thought it would be. It's actually better than I thought it would be. Some of the critics online, there were two different critics that I read their stuff, and they said that the finish on it when neat was soapy. And one guy even went back to get another Glencairn because he was worried that he didn't rinse out his Glencairn well enough, and he was getting a soapiness on the back end on the finish. I didn't detect that at all. I didn't get that. If I would have, I was looking for it too. Had I gotten that, I would have said something. Hey, this tastes like soap, but it didn't. It didn't taste like soap.
Maybe he didn't clean his glass.
He said it was on 2 glasses.
Okay.
But blame it on the wife.
Well, no, wait a minute.
All right, now today is a holiday. You may not know this, but today is a holiday.
It's French Fry Day.
Is it?
National French Fry. I think they
I think
said
it was
that.
yesterday, wasn't it?
Was that yesterday?
I hope so because I had French fries yesterday, and normally I don't eat French fries.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Today is Thursday. Maybe it was.
I'd have to look it up. I remember seeing that, but I don't remember where I saw it or when I saw
Yeah.
it because I've been up for a really long time today, longer than normal.
Yeah, you're up early. You're up later than me.
Yes. I work for myself. I can sleep as
there
long
you
as
go.
I want.
Well, I teach on Tuesdays, so
Teaching, school,
this is
academia.
Thursday. 2 days later,
I don't know. This is actually a holiday in liquor terms. This is Grand Marnier Day.
Oh, okay.
Grand Marnier is a French orange liqueur.
Okay.
Okay? I will let you have a sniff.
Okay.
Sniff.
Okay.
Very nice, yes?
Yes, it is. Very
Yes.
nice. Very nice.
So, what we're going to do is make a Grand Marnier and bourbon cocktail.
Ooh.
And there it is. I couldn't get open. I was opening up the wrong stupid side. This is what happens when I don't put on my glasses. See what you make me do? All right.
No, you just had it turned the wrong way.
Yes, I had it turned the wrong way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I forgot my pinchers, so I'm just going to use my fingers. Is that all right with you?
Fine with me.
Okay. I don't think why don't you get out some of it yourself?
Oh,
That way,
for God's
just in case I
sakes.
wipe my nose or something,
You didn't. I watched.
or lick my fingers, or
There we go. That enough?
scratch my butt.
Is
That's
that-
fine.
Oh, well, now if I'd have noticed that, there'd be no way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you might want to do maybe a couple more.
For God's sakes. Okay.
All right.
He promised he washed his hands.
I did.
earlier.
I
He
did.
filled the ice bucket with his bare hands.
Yes, but then we've been sitting here for.
Yeah, but you've already touched it.
I
So
might
what is
have-
it?
I touch my nose sometimes. What I think it is sometimes is so long I have to brace it.
Well, there you go.
All right, so this is a Grand Marnier and bourbon cocktail. It's basically an ounce and a quarter of everything. All right, so I don't think I have an ounce and a quarter jigger. That's a 2. That's a 1. That is a 1. That's a half. So if I do 2 3/4, that'll be right. Close enough. Ounce and a quarter. There we go. Or ounce and a half, I mean. So we'll do ounce and a half of everything instead of ounce and a quarter of everything. Is that all right with you?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start off with the Widow Jane. You know what? I want to do this the right way.
Okay.
I won't do it right if I don't do it this way.
Okay.
So we'll do that into a shaker.
Oh.
It's all right. I already had one shower. I might as well have another one. Do that. Cork. That's the Grand Marnier cork. That's the
Right cork, right.
We went through half a bottle of that. Isn't that nice?
Well, see, there you go. Not quite.
You're right. And about the same of the Grand Marnier. This drinks hot. For its proof, it drinks hot.
Okay.
Simple dimple. And then the same with sweet, sweet vermouth. Was it that side? Oh, that one. Thank you. I'm like, what in the hell? Something's different. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would have taken me 20 minutes to figure out. What in the world?
Or, okay.
Jeez. All right. And then, just a little bit of lemon juice. Let's get that
Ooh.
off of there. Oh, get off there. All right. Now, if my hands weren't clean before, they will be now.
There you go. Takes care of it. And you're lemony fresh.
And then we'll just prepare like pledge.
Yes.
Oop, that one didn't really cut.
You know,
very well.
they used to have what, lemon Coke.
Yeah, I don't think I ever bought that.
Oh, yeah, they used to have lemon Coke. I don't know if they still do, but you know, it used to taste like pledge smells.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, that's, yeah, I don't know.
Just give it a little shake.
Oh, you must watch Bar Rescue.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't have TV.
Oh. Netflix?
Is it on Netflix?
Well, I don't know. But you have TV.
I have TV,
Okay.
but I don't have TV.
Okay.
I don't have network. I can't watch anything on network.
I have Direct TV.
I'm sorry.
I know. Me too.
Garnish. Garnish.
Okay.
Dink. So this is a Grand Marnier and bourbon cocktail.
Okay.
Not bad. I should have
I
shook it
kinda
with
like
ice
that.
though.
Yeah.
It would have been a little colder. I'm just going to let it sit there and get colder.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be pretty tasty once it's a little colder.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I didn't think about shaking it on ice. I probably could have.
So you should have put the ice with your, take
the shaker.
Yes, in the shaker with your fingers and done that.
Well, the lemon juice would have killed any bacteria, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You know.
All right, guys. Thank you again for checking us out on a Thursday. This is Beautiful Bourbon. You can find us on Instagram at Beautiful Bourbon. You can find us here on Facebook, of course. How you get there now? No idea. And of course, we have the blog at beautifulbourbon.com. This is Dawn. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Came
you.
here on a trike, a 3-wheeled motorcycle. Very, very cool.
My Vanderhall.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Venice Vanderhall. Yep.
I like it.
Thank you.
It's a turbo. 190 horse?
194 horse. Turbo. Yep.
She's a fast woman. Fast woman.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I don't know.
You know.
All right, guys. Thank you again for hanging out with us. We will see you again next Thursday. We're going to be doing, finally, Jefferson's Ocean. Jefferson's Ocean is, this one is Voyage 19. Voyage 19. I've never had Jefferson's Ocean before. It is aged at sea.
Oh.
In barrels out at sea.
Oh, cool.
Probably gimmick. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I'm
people
sure.
really like
I'm
it.
sure.
It's stupid expensive. We'll see if it's worth it. Next Thursday, right here on Beautiful Bourbon. You guys take care. We will see you next week. Come on.